makes you, and you sort of represent a lot of people, what makes you want to defend what is? What makes you argue for your limitations? We were teasing you, but we meant it. You knew you were doing it, and everyone in the room, or a lot of them, could feel you doing it. They could feel you holding stubbornly to a belief that isn't serving you. Now, let's let you off the hook right now. You're not really holding stubbornly to a belief that doesn't serve you. Law of attraction is dishing out to you what you usually think. You're in the receptive mode of that. You're in the receptive mode of what you usually think, you see. So how are you going to think differently? Well, you could stand by somebody who knows how it works, and every time you do it, someone could tease you about it, or climb your tree about it, or correct you about it. But you know what would happen under those conditions? You would just become more defensive. You would just become more sure. You've had enough people in your life trying to guide your thinking and help you know that's how you got stubborn. This is my life. I'm going to live my life. Don't tell me what to do. Don't try to create my reality. I want to create my reality. But in the process, you see, when you get defensive, when you are justifying or defending, if you feel like you have to defend yourself against something, you make that something bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because you create your own reality. And you know why you do it? Because if I can create something big and bad and I can overcome it, then I'll be good. If I can defeat the badness, then I will be the goodness.
Or I feel like it's my freedom to do so.
Say more.
I feel like it's want to be free by doing it my way.
Yeah, that's a valid point, isn't it? But what if your way, what if those battles that you're accustomed to fighting with others, what if now you've got that battle fighting going on between you and you? Think about that. If you're used to defending yourself against others and what they think or what they want you to do, then isn't it logical that you would develop a pattern where you would sort of contradict your own desires? I want that, but it's not practical. I want that, but that's not really reasonable. And I want that, but is that spiritual, or is that prudent, or is that acceptable? You fight this battle with yourself unnecessarily. But when you quiet your mind, there's no battle, because there's just the inner you. Hear this. When you go to sleep, there's just the inner you. But this part of you is ready to wake up and be like you were before you went to sleep. But when you meditate, there's just the inner you. But during meditation, the physical you joined the inner you. Can you feel the difference? When you meditate, your vibration rises. So, do you meditate?
Yes.
Do you meditate?
Yes.
And when you meditate, do you quiet your mind?
Not all the time.
Then you don't meditate.
I do the process, but I don't get...
Going through the motions. Have you ever worked with someone who just goes through the motions? They're pretending to wash the dishes, but nothing ever gets clean. They said they made the bed, but when you looked at it, it wasn't made. In other words, they're just going through the motions, not wanting to accomplish something. Well, that's not who you are. You want to accomplish something. So do you want to accomplish meditation? Do you understand what accomplishing meditation means? It means quieting your mind. It means giving yourself in your physical body access to the vibration of your inner mind.
So the way I do it, telling myself to quiet, it doesn't work.
It doesn't matter what you've been doing. Can you hear this fan? Can all of you hear it? Just now, for the first time, Esther uses that fan to focus on, to come into Abraham's energy just now. First time she's used the fan in the room for that. Now we want to tell you the benefit of this fan that you can hear. It's not interesting. There's not much meat in the thought of the fan. No point in comparing it. That fan isn't as nice as other fans I've heard. I don't think that fan likes me. There are none of those thoughts. That fan let me down. No, you just can't really find a contradictory thought about that. In fact, that fan is about as void of anything to think about as anything that you might think about, isn't it? It's not interesting, but it is something to notice. Can you notice it?
Yes.
Close your eyes and just focus on the fan. And when your mind wanders, and it will, because There are other things in your mind other than the fan. Just let the fan be the most important thing to you right now. Now that's just a few seconds of focusing on the fan. Did other thoughts come into your mind while you were focusing on the fan?
No.
Did anybody just have a pure fan moment? As Esther got right there, did your mind wander a little bit? Some of all of it. So if you believe that you were only focusing on the fan, not thinking about the fan, just noticing the fan, raise your hand if you think that that's what happened to you. And if your mind wandered, raise your hand. All right, that's really good, isn't it? It was about half and half. So now let's do it again, only now we've talked about it. Do you think that those of you who were able to only think about the fan will have that experience again? And do you think those of you whose mind wandered, your mind will wander again? Probably, because now we've introduced a little conversation about the fan. In fact, we talk too much about the fan. We've talked so much about the fan that the fan isn't as effective as it was if we hadn't talked so much about the fan. Are you understanding what we're getting at?
Getting bigger and bigger.
So thoughts are frequencies, and they bring other thoughts to them. And so if you get up in the morning and you find something to focus on, for those of you who found yourself only focusing on the fan, did you feel anything else in your physical body? Did you feel some detachment, some space? Did you?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Well, then you know how to meditate. That's all it is. It's just doing that and not doing it very well, and next time doing it and doing it a little better, and sometimes doing it better than others, but knowing what you're doing and knowing what you're reaching for. Before long, it won't be more than 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or 30 days into the process of doing that before you'll find the relief of a quieted mind. Now, the relief of a quieted mind just feels like relief. If you've got something bothering you, it will feel like relief. If there's nothing bothering you, it will just feel like sort of a nice state of being. But sometimes these are some of the things that then begin to happen. You may find yourself sort of moving during meditation. You may find your head sort of moving. That's really good, because that means your inner mind, your inner being, is projecting the impulse and you're receiving it. That means you're in the receiving mode.
I feel it spinning sometimes.
You've done that? Then you've meditated.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and now it's gone. So that's why I feel so sad about the whole thing.
Now, we didn't get far enough in it for those words not to still come. You began arguing for your limitation again. We got pretty far down the road before you did that, though, didn't we? So are you getting the sense of this? So you want to quiet your mind, because when you quiet your mind, you allow your vibration to rise to the equivalency of your inner being. Why is that a good thing? Because your inner being knows everything you want and is standing in that vibrational place as a point of attraction where everything that you want is culminating. And when you allow your vibration to rise and you find vibrational equivalency with your inner being, then what happens to you is you're standing in that same point of attraction where you're in the receptive mode, where you get impulses, so you get to witness your thoughts turning to things. You get to see the manifestations taking shape. And why is that important? It isn't. It's just fun. It's not important. It's just more fun to watch things come into being. The most fun thing in the world. It is our promise to you, the thing that you will feel the most exhilarated about, the thing that will give you the most satisfaction and the most pleasure, is to have lived some life and know what you don't want and know what you do want, and have done it enough that you're pretty sure about what you do want. And then to meditate and quiet your mind, so during that time you're not clamoring in resistance to what you want, which means you're in closer vibrational proximity to it. And because you are in vibrational proximity to it, ideas and impulses come to you which you feel compelled to act on, which then show you evidence of the progress you're making. That is so fun. When you set an intention for something and then you get to witness the universal forces that are always working on your behalf, and you witnessing them because you're letting yourself be the receiver of the evidence of the progress of your intention, there's nothing more exhilarating than that in all of the universe. And there is nothing less exhilarating than to want something that you don't let in and then complain about it day after day after day after day, not letting it change, just letting the desire get bigger. Every time you complain about something, your desire gets bigger. So now consider this. This is a vibrational fact that you are ready to hear right now, maybe for the first time you've ever heard it. When you in your life are causing a problem to come into focus, you are causing a solution to come into focus. And who's focused on the solution? Your inner being. How are you going to get access to that? You got to find vibrational equivalency with your inner being before the solution's going to come. And if you're beating the drum of the problem all day, you'll never find the solution. We're not asking you to go into deep meditation and just stay there so that you can receive answers. We're asking you that 15 minutes every day you make a small effort or attempt to listen to something that is not interesting, to allow your mind to become inactive enough that your vibrational frequencies are allowed by you to rise to who you really are just for a little bit. And when you do that, things will happen in that day that would not have happened otherwise. You'll have insights in that day that you would not have had otherwise. Things will go better for you in that day that would not have gone better for you otherwise. You'll have evidence of the manifestations coming into being that you wouldn't have had otherwise.
It's like play. You feel like joy. You feel like the interaction with
You feel
source.
joy instead of stubborn.
Yeah.
You feel happy instead of tense. You feel eager instead of tired. You feel clarity instead of confusion. It's just a much better day. And let's say that some of you who maybe haven't been meditating, or have and then stop, or don't do it regularly, let's say that our sales job has convinced you that this might be a good idea because it's the only way. Because law of attraction won't let you loose otherwise. So let's say we convinced you, and you began meditating, and you began noticing that on those days that not only did you just feel better, but there was more fun because there was more evidence of you allowing the universe to work on your behalf. So you feel a little more blessed, you feel a little more understood, you have more fun. It's a better day. And then let's say you wake up on a morning, you didn't plan it very well, your phone started ringing, and you got into the day and you didn't meditate. And that day is a different kind of day. That day sort of sucks in subtler ways. But then on another day you meditate and it's a better day. And then you meditate and it's a better day. And your days get better and better, and then you don't meditate and it's not as good a day. And you put it together. Receptive mode on Monday, not receptive mode on Tuesday. Receptive mode on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Saturday was awesome. Sunday, I slept in because I was drunk last night, didn't meditate, and didn't go very well that day. In other words, you start noticing the correlation between you allowing yourself to find your receiving mode and you not allowing yourself to find your receiving mode. And then you start noticing, maybe saying it only to yourself and maybe saying it to others. When I meditate, it's like there's a whole cadre of assistance that follows me around. It's like there's someone that is moving ahead of me, just getting things out of the way. And on days that I don't meditate, it's more like I'm out there on that raw and ragged edge all by myself. Because it's attraction, 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 attraction.